Okay.
Okay, thank you, Kay. So we're going to take Kay as our first example. This is practical. I'm saying I'm going to do it practically. Don't worry, for the rest of you who raised up your hand, don't worry. Once we finish with Kay, I'll take another example. I'll take as many examples just to prove to you, just to show you that I'm not kidding, I'm not lying. We've done this for several people, 150 people in the past 3 years, I'm counting. Okay? I want to prove to you on this call live, and that's why I'm doing this. All right, so please pay attention. All right, Kay. So what are the industries you've worked in?
Look, I worked at the bank.
You've worked in the bank. Okay. So this is for those of you who've worked in the bank, you have somebody who's banking experience. How long have you had this banking experience?
About 20 years.
20 years. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. That's a lot. Okay. So did you work in different arms of
Departments, yes. I started from operations. That is, and I
you started
was
from
through so
operations?
many departments. I
Okay.
was a teller.
You
I
went to
was a
teller,
customer service officer.
to
I was the
customer
head
service.
customer service. I
Okay.
was in what we call the accounts and clearing,
You
which has to do with clearing of checks.
and clearing.
I was at the computer room. I was That I was also at a Western Union operator at the time.
Okay. And then Western Union. This has to do with money transfers. Yeah.
Yes, money transfer, payment, receiving and transfer then. Now, before I later moved to marketing.
And then there's marketing.
So I was a relationship manager for some time. That's what we
All
call
right. Don't
account
worry. Don't
officer.
worry. I think we've got enough. We've got enough.
Okay.
We've got enough here, right? Okay. We've got enough here. All right. So remember that business analysis, when you are creating a change, okay, it's either you're creating something new or you're modifying something that already exists in an enterprise. And in an enterprise, we refer to that as, when you say enterprise, we are talking about an organization. And this organization would have products, okay, processes, okay, they'll have people, policies, technology, etc. Technology could be, could be anything. Now, if you look into operations at the time when you were there, I know operations has a lot to do with processes, right? It has a lot to do with
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Maybe
Processes.
politics
Yeah.
involved. Maybe there are some technologies you use. Now,
Yeah.
were there any processes that you feel like was not, improved over time? Like that process wasn't really efficient the way it needed to be efficient, but over time, you guys made it efficient. Can you
Yeah.
think of anything
Yes.
like that? Okay.
Yes, there was so much more that happens
Okay,
from
so
time
let's
to time.
start.
Yeah.
So tell me the problem. So tell me the problem with that process.
Okay. Initially, let me give you one. Like when we used to open an account before,
Okay.
at the time, what we just needed was customer's name and then probably address. So after that, maybe next of kin, and that's all. And we opened the account. Not much documentation, nothing like maybe identity card, evidence of showing where you live, what job do you do. There was nothing like that. So at the time, there was the need, when the anti-money laundering came, the process was modified because, the problem with the with money laundering, which has to do with to curb the money laundering activities. So there was what we called know your customer, KYC documentation. So the process was upgraded to meet with the demands. It was a global issue. So the KYC was introduced. So which means before you open an account for somebody, you must know whom the customer is.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the things you need to do is that when somebody tells you his name is Emmanuel John, there should be a document showing you that that guy is actually bearing that name.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where the issue of having maybe national ID, driver's license, or driver's license, national ID, or international passport. And so those were the documents we are taking then. Then to know customers, when a customer said he's working somewhere, you need a letter from that place where he's working, showing that it's actually staff of that particular place.
So that we don't take too much time. So basically, the account opening process needed to change because certain things within the regulation compliance, okay?
Yes.
So there was a body that regulated the banks, okay, in your home country, and they introduced a new policy that had to do with money laundering.
Yes.
So as a result of that, all of the banks needed to comply to new policies. So now you're dealing with policies, right?
Policy, yes.
So I just want to help you understand where, if you're going to talk about this to people, you need to be clear. I understand you're telling me like this, but if you're in an interview, you need to be able to, use the words, use the things that you need to. All right. You say, okay, there was a in the bank where I functioned as a business analyst. Why I was brought into this, why I was brought into the project was because the governing body for the banks in that country, in the country that I work for, actually changed the policies for compliance due to money laundering, and that needed to change the way we approached opening bank accounts for the customers. Initially, the process was just collect a few simple documents and we were able to open the account. But now we needed to create and streamline an easy process, irrespective of the fact that we needed more documentation. We needed to streamline the process to make it easy for the customer to be able to open an account. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, yes.
So now you have the problem, okay, which is the fact that a new, so I'm just gonna put this in bullet points. So there was a new compliance policy,
legal requirement,
okay, due to new okay, so new policy, new compliance policy was was enacted by the governing body for the banks, right?
Yes.
Okay. That affected the way we, the banks, not just you, the way the banks would typically, open accounts, for customers. Okay. Now, we needed more documentation.
Yes.
Okay. And questioning to know the customer before account creation. The bank brought me in as the business analyst to help create a new account creation process and streamline this and streamline the process, making it very user friendly. Okay. And very user friendly with quick turnaround time. Okay. So here I have merged both problem and solution here, right? Okay. I've merged both problem and solution here. Now you're going to tell them what you did. Okay, you're going to tell them what you did. Okay, because here there was the new policy. It's not your fault. You are just working in the bank, and the governing body, says that there's a new policy that has been enacted. All right, you guys have to change the way you're doing things. But you guys have then discovered that with this new policy, you guys will be collecting a lot of documentation. You'll be asking a lot of questions just in the bid to know the customer. It could be frustrating for the customer. In fact, you can even go one step further. In fact, let's do it this way. You can go one step further and say that they already had a process, a new process that they even put in place, but customers were complaining. Can you see that? So you can already even say that, okay, while this thing came up, a process was put together, but when they started using the process for like 6 months, you guys got a lot of complaint. Where you guys used to turn around, 100, accounts, used to open 100 accounts in a day, you're now opening 27 accounts because of this particular thing. So there was need for a new, in fact, that would even give it will give more flesh to the problem. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
so
I understand.
There was need for them to streamline this process to make it more efficient. Whether by the use of technology. Also, you have to mention all the problems like people coming to the bank and trying to, spending time in the bank, standing on queues for 4 hours. We needed to kill all of that. And this was why you were brought in to be able to tackle that problem. So what did you do as a BA? What did you do as a BA? So now
as a
you will now start
this
way you will now start telling them about the activities that a BA will do. First, you need to do a needs assessment. Okay, understand how the process is currently being done. Okay, so the first is the needs assessment. You understood, you asked questions, and also observed how the account creation process was currently being done. Okay, so that is the Aziz.
Yes.
That's the Aziz process.
Yes.
So you were asking questions, also and you observed how the account creation process was. So don't worry. For those of you, I will show you how you can use AI because we are doing this manually now. I'll show you how you can use AI to get this in less than 1 minute. Less than 1 minute. What we're doing now. Okay, to get it in less than 1 minute. All right. So needs assessment. You ask questions and also observed how the account creation process was currently being done. Okay. Then you identified the problems with the current process. Now, when you are talking in an interview, you don't talk like this. You don't just say you identified the problems in the process and you stop there. That is where people get it wrong. So what do you do? Anybody knows what we're going to do here? What do we do after we say you identify the problems with the current process? What do you do to stand out?
It's approved.
No, talk about the problems. Mention like 3 of those problems. Give them example to show them that you did it. Because anybody can come and say anything. The reason why I would believe you did a thing is to give me the examples within the context of that thing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you need to say, you said you identified problems with the current process. Oh yeah, tell me what were the problems with the current process? So I discovered that where they used to do between 75 to 100 account opening in maybe you can use a week because maybe a day, maybe 2, maybe you can use maybe between 75 to 100 account opening in a week per branch. Because again, You need to help them see the magnanimity of the
Community.
project you did.
Problem.
If you say, you just did it in your local branch, no, you were solving it for the global branches, for the global. So it was a global stuff you're working on. That shows you the magnanimity of that project. So you need to make sure that you are the one that help them to see. You should be the one to help them see. You make them see you the way you want to be seen. So you don't talk about your project lightly. You elevate it. So account opening per week, in a week. So I discovered that I discovered that where they used to do between 75 to 100 account opening in a week per branch, that had reduced to an average of 25 per week. Okay?
Yeah.
Customers were queuing, had to queue in the bank premises. In fact, when people come and see the queue, they are discouraged and they go back home.
Go back home.
You see, you are making your point hit. You're trying to tell them, say, I am solving a worthy problem. Don't think this thing I'm telling you is not a worthy problem. I was actually solving something that was worthy. Customers were queuing in the bank premises, and you can tell them the consequences of that. That even people had to employees, okay, were beginning to resign because of the pressure to deliver with an inefficient, to deliver targets, okay, like the targets that they have for opening to deliver so employees were beginning to resign because of the pressure of to deliver targets with an inefficient process. I found this out when I sent out a nationwide employee survey as part of my work. Do you see how you're positioning the work?
Yeah.
Do you see how you're doing that?
Yes.
Okay. So you're already beginning to tell them the things you do. You're already saying survey. You're already saying you did a need assessment. You did an assist. You listen to, you're already putting all those things that you typically do as a BA. So the work that you do, you have to put it from the perspective of a BA. And the same way we are looking at, this is just one. We are looking at just one of the things you've done here. Yeah. Listen, do you know the one that is very interesting if I go into it? Is this thing called payments and money transfer. This one would be too sweet. If we did a project on this one, this would be, even till tomorrow, there's this company in the US, Sendwave. They're still trying, they're still, they're just currently working on peer-to-peer. It exists for peer-to-peer in the US. It's a project they are just working on now. So imagine you were dealing with money transfer, you were integrating with Western Union. That is huge. That's a big project. You don't know what I'm saying until this one here is a huge one. Not to even come to talk of, so here we are only talking about, is it operations? I think we're in operations right now, right?
Yeah.
Is it operations? Yeah.
Customer service, yeah.
Customer service, right? Customer service and operations. Yeah, we're just here.
Yeah.
There's even some more things that I would like that we can do with this one. But let's just go one after the other. So I'll take one from you. I would like to hear from somebody else who is not banking, from somebody else completely not banking, maybe if it's in construction or something else. I'd like to hear from somebody, just to put all of that experience together. Okay, and help you see, how this is very, very possible. Okay, so you So you've told them that you identified the problems with the current process. And like I said, you don't stop there. You're going to talk about the different problems that you actually encountered. I discovered this, I saw this, I did this, and these were the things you were looking to solve. All right, let's move on. So you did a needs assessment, you understand the as-is process, you identified the problems with the current process, and did a gap analysis. You see, this is all BA stuff. Gap analysis to understand the gaps that needed to be closed and the actions we needed to take to close these gaps. These actions helped me. This was my first step. This was my first step to defining actionable requirements for project. So you can see how you are building your case. You've already told them the problem that you solved, the problem that was existent, the solution, why they brought you on board, and what you did, or what you're doing, or what you did for the project. So you told them need assessment, you identified the problem, you did a gap analysis. That was kind of like first step to you, defining your actionable requirements for that project. Okay. Okay, based on the information. So who did you speak with? Because we need to talk about the stakeholders we interacted with. Don't talk about a project, especially in business analysis, without nailing all these aspects that we talked about. Remember the aspects we talked about. If I take you back here, remember the aspects that we talked about. So change, okay, the change, the organization, in this case, it's process, okay, process, policy, and a few things. All right, the problem, the solution, the benefit, the stakeholder. Now, let's talk on the stakeholder. Who are the people, the different people that were connected in one way or the other? So we need to be able to talk about these ones too. Okay, we need to be able to say one or two things about these ones too. So let's look at that. So based on this, on the information I gathered from who? Who would you have gathered information from? In this case, anybody? It doesn't have to be K. Anybody can answer for me. Who do you think, you can put it in the chat. Who do you think you would have gathered this information from? To help him with the solution he will be providing. Who are the people he should be looking to collect information from? Anybody? Remember that stakeholder is anybody that is connected with the change, connected with the need, connected with the solution, right? Clients. Okay, so these clients are who? In the context of what we're talking about, customer. Thank you. Customer. So based on the information I gathered from customers, who else would they have collected information from? Yes, based on the information you collected from customers, who else? Who else would you have collected information from? Staff, because they're involved. Yeah, I know, stakeholders, right? Okay, all right, stakeholders. Regulators from the policy, or policy from the regulators. Okay. All right, because you are going to also build this new process to you build this new process to make sure that it agrees to the new compliance stuff, right? Okay. So based on the information you gathered from customers, from staff, from policy regulators, and from senior management team, yes, I would love to put that. You know, the reason why I put senior management team is because if your job description is saying that you should have experience speaking to director level stakeholders, if ever you see that in your job description, make sure in your description of the work that you did, make sure to highlight the fact that you have interacted with people at that level. These little things count. So for that reason, I will put senior management. Because again, if they ask you why, of course, they will be there to give you feedback, and they'll be there for also feedback, because as you're building, you're confirming things from them. You see, you're confirming things from senior management to be sure that they are okay with what you're doing. Does that make sense? All right. So based on the information I gathered, from the customers, based on the information that I gathered or elicited, you can use the word elicited, that are elicited from staff, from the policy, I was able to create a set of requirements to streamline the new process. So for the new process, we have to build product. So now you've introduced product, okay? We had to build a platform that helped us with the exchange. A platform that helped us to collect customers' information, verify. So tell me the things you guys will now do. Oh yeah, okay, Baba, this is where you tell me what to do. So tell me what that new process is, okay? Because that's what the system is going to handle now. So what is that new process? Just give me in words like you're doing a funnel. They do the first thing, which is maybe collection of the data, and then the second thing is like verification, and what's the next thing, and what's the next thing. Just tell me what that process is like.
Okay, so just like you have said, we collect the documents, the ID card, either international passport or national ID or driver's license, and then we are connected to a central platform through which we can verify. Initially, we were sending for verification. When you collect in the branch.
Hold that there. Hold that there. There's a way to say it. Hold on. Just hold that. So for the new process, we had to build a platform that helped us to collect customers' information and relevant documents like, national ID card, driver's license. Okay.
International passport.
Yeah, international passport. And verify their identity.
Yeah.
Hold on, there's something I want to bring here. For this, we needed to integrate, that's another keyword, to integrate with an external verification platform provided. Okay, we needed to integrate with an external via APIs. APIs is application program interface. Now, again, you need to make this. If you don't make it look big, they will think it's not big.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So
Yes.
you can see that simple thing you have just said, like, you can see how you're now taking the things you've learned, because you're going to learn about API. What does API do? It takes information between two platforms and it transfers this information. You're going to learn about that. You will know what it does, right? So using that word and that language will not be big to you. You know exactly what that is. So for this, we needed to integrate with an external verification platform via APIs, which is central to all the banks within the country. Okay. So after verification, what happens? I just wanted to give some highlight into that.
Then it brings the result comes back, and
Okay.
then we after we get the verification, then it will tell us maybe the document is authentic or not.
Okay.
And if it's authentic, then the account opening will progress.
After authentication, so that account opening, what happens there? When you say it progress, what do you mean by progress? What is the things, what are the things that happen there?
So we were able to open the account within record time, faster than
Yes, I know,
before.
I know.
Yeah.
So this account opening, so because
so
now the information has come back.
it approves that it approves the account
Okay.
opening process.
Do you have to send it to a department for approval? Is there that
No,
department, or is
no,
it
there's no approval again.
So this
because
comes
you have
back
been,
here to you,
yeah,
and you take it through that approval, right?
yeah.
Okay. So after authentication is successful.
Yes.
Okay. We built the system to automatically approve okay, the customer for the account they have indicated, or they have indicated in the form. What else happens? That's it,
After
right?
this,
Then we then send an email, right?
Yes.
To them. Okay. Now, you also need to think about automation. So once that is approved, an email is automatically sent to the customer, informing them of their status, okay, of their application status. Now, don't forget, if you want to embellish this, we can do a lot here now. So now that now this is shell. I have the shell. I can come back and now begin to look for where I can do some more embellishments. For example, you see that place where we say, it's going to email them for application status. We can talk about when we built the platform. When you're talking about requirements about the platform, you build the platform. One of the requirements that you got was, the different emails we're going to send and the different statuses. Like when the application has gone for verification, we send them an email just to keep them up to date that, that this typically, the turnaround time is typically around 24 hours. So this is what you were able to achieve. Even customers did not need to leave the comfort of their house. That's number one. So after you've said all these things, now you will now talk about outcome. And you know how many outcomes that you can see that within when this was implemented, we discovered that where we used to do 100 accounts in the past, with this, number one, people didn't have to queue in the banks, except their verification came back unauthenticated, we will give them a call and ask them to come to the bank. So do you see where they now have to come to the bank?
Come to the bank, yeah.
And
Not
here
anybody
is where we now send them an email asking them to come to the bank. So here, number one, those problems you talked about, this one, you gave them the outcome. That when we now implemented the system, where we used to do, 100, that reduced to 25, now we could do a record of at least 250 account opening without the employees being under pressure.
Yeah.
In fact, we could not use the employees for some other, where we needed, like in customer service, where we needed hands. We could now take some of our people in operations to help with that. You see, you were able to solve a problem and even make it better. Customers were no longer queuing. Employees had more time on their hands. There was no pressure. You could now begin to put metrics to that. Tell me how this
Turnaround got improved. The
how
bank
that
rating got improved.
yeah.
Customers.
So you got more. So tell me how this is not a viable project. Anybody, tell me how this is not a viable project. Tell me how this is not business analysis. How? Is this not business analysis? Hello?
It is.
Is this not business analysis, sir? People on the call, do you disagree? This is not business analysis. You can't say this in an interview. Can you or can you not? Yes or no? I want to see in the chat. Those of you on the call, can you or can you not say this? Especially when you put this properly together. Can you or can you not say this in an interview? Yes, right? Put it to everyone. Say to everyone. Yes, right? Yes, you can. Absolutely, 100%. Listen, the only problem is that you go in there and you say generic stuff. Generic stuff will not get you a job. Generic things will not get you a job. You have to be specific. Like some of the things we can even now. I've not even told you how you're going to package this in your resume. This we are just talking about the project. How you package this in a resume is totally different. So you take this and you package this in a resume. Of course, if you are working with me, I will definitely not give you 20 years of experience in the bank. 4 is fine. Okay, and then we'll do consulting for the rest. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. So that you don't put yourself in one spot. Yeah. If you do too much of finance, it means that people think that that's the only thing you can do, finance. Right? Are you getting my point now? Listen, these things, we've done it over and over and over again. I'm giving you gems. Listen, we've done this over and over and over and over again. So thank you, Kay. Let's go to another person. I saw a few hands here. I saw a few hands up.